All right. Well, welcome everyone to our Children's Art Classes Virtual Discovery Day, the first of 2026. Look forward to a really exciting, engaging experience. It's my pleasure to introduce you all to Stephanie Larson, our president of Children's Art Classes.
Thanks, Sean. It's so nice to have you guys here with us today. As Sean said, as we go through, please ask questions. This is your time. So interject, interrupt, ask away. Very happy to have you with us. So the first order of events, we will be introducing ourselves, so a little bit about you. And then I'm going to talk to you about the real vision I have for children's art classes, just our story and where we are today and where I see us going in the future, and where it all started from. And we're going to really take a close look at the curriculum, going into further detail, kind of explaining exactly how it all rolls out and works and how it is designed to grow with our students. And then we're going to look at the model, which includes your launch, getting your business open. How do we get to that point? The training that's involved, marketing and advertising. And then, of course, we'll open it up at the end for more questions and answers, but don't leave them all for the end. Ask as we go through. So you know me, my mother Barbara's down there pictured. She is very much still a part of children's art classes. She's 73 now and she still teaches a day a week at our studio here in Jacksonville. We were always a two-gal show at the studio, so I do miss being next to her teaching, but she's still there and she also travels with me to support all of our teacher trainings and studio visits. So she still has a real hand into the business and she fields phone calls directly from our CAC instructors across the country. She lives to teach and she'll always be passionate about that role that she has in her life. So grateful to have Sean with me today, Sean Hansen, Franchise Development. Without Sean, all these moving parts and pieces just would go only as far as my family businesses. He's really helped get this franchise where it is today and handles all the things that I don't like, which involves spreadsheets and Excel and all that gross stuff. And then, of course, I think all of you have met Michelle Jones by now. Michelle's not here today, but she's a big part of our team as well and does just an amazing job helping with all the introductions and getting those facilitated. So very grateful for my team. Sean is going to speak on behalf of our lost soul, Dennis Mulgannon. I don't want to go too in depth there because it's still very raw. But I would love for Sean to speak on behalf of Dennis and talk a little bit about the history of franchise scale, if you would do that for me.
Yeah, I'd love to. And we did really on Thanksgiving Day we lost one of my best friends and my mentor and one of our co-partners and founders of Children's Art Classes, the franchise. And but we get to carry forward that legacy and how special it is. And so sorry to share that it is still a little bit raw, but excited about where we are. What Dennis and I always, as you look back at this legacy of brands from Junk King to Flylock, WaveMax Laundry, Vertica Fitness, Surface Experts, and certainly Children's Art Classes, we've had the opportunity to partner with amazing founders, amazing businesses. And the one thing that always stands out, we want to have amazing founders. We want to have a business that's needed out there in the market, but it's got to make an impact. And so as you look about that force multiplier, that impact on our owners, on their families, on their communities, that's what we will partner with to bring to market. And that's where, when Mike Roberts, the founder of WaveMax Laundry, introduced us to Stephanie and Barbara, goodness, we fell in love. We're like, wow. And at the end of the day was, Mike Roberts, he had been sending his daughter Athena to Children's Art Classes for 6 years. And he's like, hey guys, I have 6 years at $100 a month. It was just different pricing back there for monthly recurring revenue. You guys got to check out this business. And then we met Stephanie and Barbara and we're like, oh, not only is it a great business, but wonderful people. And really personally, selfishly, my daughter at the time, she was like 16, and she always had an art project going on. And but she never had this kind of education and curriculum and all that. I'm like, this was missing in my daughter's life, and I want to be able to take it and launch it and grow it and give it to all these other kids. And so I got that milestone in in early November, where Trace and our team in Orlando, I enrolled my niece and nephew into the studio down there. So though my daughter didn't get to participate in CAC, I've got my niece and nephew there, and they're loving it. So, and I appreciate all your heartfelt messages there in the chat. Again, it's so raw, but it's amazing. We've got an amazing team, great legacy that we get to carry forward the torch and build upon. I'm so blessed and fortunate to be part of CAC and helping each of you, if this is a great fit for you, build something for you, your family, your community, and make that true impact. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thanks so much. So introductions. Sean's also going to lead these just to go around the hub, but we'd love to hear about you and where are you and what excites you about children's art classes, and then throw in an interesting fact or something unique about you. So Sean, if you would kick this off with who would like to go first?
Happy to. And one of the things that's really neat that we're seeing more and more is as you're sort of introducing yourself to the team, is look around. People that are on this session might be a business owner training with you. When we host our national conference, you'll get to know them. And we're seeing that more and more. So I'm going to do that 8 is enough board. And let's start with Hand and Omar, if you wouldn't mind introducing where you're based, what excites you, and something unique or interesting about yourselves.
Hi, it's so nice to meet everyone. So my name is Hand. This is my husband, Omar. We're based out of Naperville, Illinois. So it's really cold over here, obviously, unlike Florida. And we're excited about CAC because I mean, we have kids at young age. We have 11 and 7, and we're expecting a child on the way as well. So it's kind of exciting to be working with something related to kids and has a lot of like community involvement and makes you feel like you build those relationships and give back to the community while also achieving like your business potential as well. We both come from project management consulting backgrounds, and we've always worked in the corporate world, and we were always exploring like how is it going to be like to kind of have something of our own. Interesting fact, something unique.
Perhaps we've lived and worked in 3 different countries, 3 different continents, 3 different time zones. It's been a journey.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow.
And I will be sure. Have you visited?
Thank you.
Have you visited Carol Studio in Chicago?
No,
not yet.
I'll make that introduction. You know, we do this virtually, but to the extent that we've got local studios like Trisha, we got to get you down to that San Jose studio. So as we're growing, I want to make sure you get boots on the ground and can really immerse yourself in children's art classes.
Well,
welcome.
Thank you.
And how about Arthur?
Hi, yeah. So I'm Arthur. This is my wife, Megan. We're based in Minnesota. Let's see what what excites us about children's art classes. You know, I think Sean touched on it earlier, but there's not a lot of options out there when it comes to kind of extracurriculars for the arts. And you know, this is, you know, a thing that's really needed in our area, especially, and so, you know, exciting to be able to contribute to a community in that capacity. As far as an interesting fact about us, I don't know. Let's see.
Megan's got something.
I don't. I really don't.
Maybe, I don't know. We just had our 10th wedding anniversary, maybe. That was fun. And we went to London.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was cool.
Awesome.
That's
welcome.
Awesome.
And Trisha.
Hi, yes, I am Trisha. I'm based in San Francisco, California. Pardon my voice, I'm getting over a cold. Let's see. What excites me about children's art classes? So there are actually quite a few art programs in San Francisco, but what I'm excited about is children's art classes, the curriculum. It seems like it's a differentiator so far, and I really want to dig into it more, but the fact that it's over a span of age 3 to all the way until they graduate high school and it never repeats is something that's really really enticing to me. I went to art school myself and know that you can't ever dig too deep into art. So I'm glad that you have with this curriculum. Um, more things I could say about that, but interesting fact about me. Let's see. I come from a world of tech, been doing tech design and tech for over 20 years. Before that, I actually went to art school and painted myself. And in between there, I started my own startup. So I know what it's like to start a business and feel successful in it. And I applaud you, Stephanie, and your mom for doing what you've pulled off so far.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing all of that.
Oh, Sean, I
Oh,
think
Sean,
you're
I think
muted.
you went on mute somehow. You went mute.
I didn't want to
There you go.
interrupt anyone. Welcome. And Zankane, if I'm not pronouncing your name right, you will correct me right now. And please introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Zankana. I also have same problem like Tricia, like not doing well
Oh,
with the cough and cold is going on. So yeah, after a good vacation time, something definitely gonna happen with our health. So I'm based in Santa Barbara, California, and Santa Barbara town is what excites me because Santa Barbara is a place where art is the one of the good uh, factor where people like arts over here, and there are some art um, classes are there, but it's not kind of organized and not giving us the regular terms of classes and everything. There are like on and off kind of like if something summer or some winter comes up and there's classes we can see, otherwise not the regular one. So I felt that having some curriculum regular learning, that's definitely a good thing for community. And I have 3 year old, so definitely I love to do some artwork and things with him. And I, in my young age, yeah, definitely I love that art projects and everything. So that also one of the things that excites me. An interesting fact, nothing like I like the arts and stuff, so I wanted to explore more that what we can give back to community, and I can also enjoy that work. I have the corporate world experience for 15 plus years, have operations and project management kind of experience, so wanted to bring that in now, something that I can do it by myself and go further with that. So yeah, that's
awesome.
all.
Wonderful.
Thank
Welcome,
you.
everyone. And everybody went back on mute. You guys don't have to stay on mute. We want you to be engaged.
Yeah, by all
We're
means.
we're used to the corporate world.
I know.
Mute
Well,
ourselves.
here we go.
I was
Becoming
there.
part of our story. So, the true vision for children's art classes is to become the premier provider of art education and instruction for the littles, age 3, all the way up until they're out the door going on to whatever their next step in life might be. And we're achieving this. It's amazing to see. I think we're in 26 states, maybe 27 now. So we're halfway. We're halfway, over halfway a little bit. But the goal is to share this program with as many kids as possible, because whether they're a little Picasso or maybe they're just needing to work on more critical thinking skills or attention span, this program can really benefit all kids that come in. So the why is really that art education is fundamental to the development of our kids. It enhances academics. It's proven that it does. And it contributes to the long-term success of that individual child. The platform that they get at children's art classes is designed so their self-esteem goes through the roof. I mean, at the end of the day, that's really what it's all about, is the high expectations we have on these kids, and they rise and exceed those expectations, and they are so proud of themselves and the results, and you can't take that away from them. So that self-esteem thing is everything. So the goal is to educate and enrich the students and the communities. And speaking on that, this is still a very new franchise in the scheme of franchise life. So as you bring this to the community, you really do need to be the mouthpiece and talk to families about what this program's all about, because most people hear art business and they think drop in or paint a piece of pottery, and those are all good things. But that's not what we do. So we want to make sure that we can educate the families and really let them know what they've got their hands on now that this is brought into the community. I can't do this without all of my wonderful franchisees. I love my franchisees. I think we all share the same values as far as families and bringing something good into the world. We all know that that can be used every single day. And I am passionate about helping people. My role has shifted in my career from teaching this curriculum for 16 years and running our family businesses to really focusing on how I can best help my franchisees. So there's been a lot of improvement since we first started. And my goal is always, how can I make this better? How can I make this a better experience for somebody coming in that's new, that's never had their own business before? Or even if they have, how can I just make this a smoother process? So continuous evolvements and improvements is always on my day-to-day list. And providing this model that will continue to bring success to each new person is also my goal. This business has blessed my life in so many ways, and I want to make sure that each franchisee that's on our team experiences that success and that feeling of bringing something good to their community. Looking at the journey is pretty special to me. My mom did start this business out of our home in Roswell, New Mexico, long ago in 1997. And she was teaching art full time at the high school, and she was selling Amway at night. And as a single mom, she still wasn't making it. So she developed this curriculum that she could teach after school to kids. And it took some adjustment for her because she had been teaching high school level art for 25 years. So if you notice, everything that our 9 and ups do is elevated. It's all at that high school level. But these kids are amazing, and she's developed the program in a way where even if you have no art experience, it's such a technical school. I mean, these are skills that are being taught. So the growth for my mom was amazing. She quickly outgrew our garage space where she had children's art classes for the first time and moved into her first retail space in Roswell in the mall. And that business was so successful that she was able to quit teaching at the high school level and quit selling Amway and just have a really nice business. And I was very happy to see her not burning it at both ends and having a life and enjoying what she was doing. So time went by. My sister and I both ended up in Florida. My mom was traveling all the time to see us. And she finally just said, enough's enough. My sister was on baby number 3. I had been selling real estate in the market crash, so we both needed our mom. So she sold her business out in Roswell, and my mom and I opened our first studio together. And that was in 2009. A few years later, my husband and I opened, well, I think actually we opened my sister's studio first. My sister still runs her business out in Orange Park, Florida. And then in 2018, my husband and I opened our studio out in Ponte Vedra. So we were running those family businesses, had looked into franchising along the way, and it was just like overwhelming with the FDD and regulations and all of those things that I hate. So when I was introduced to Dennis and Sean through Mike Roberts, who Sean mentioned, I had been teaching his daughter for many years. He made that introduction to franchise scale, and I got to meet Dennis and Sean, and they came out to Florida and checked out our studios and decided to take us on as one of their brands. And we launched our franchise in the height of COVID. We almost pulled the plug. I can't tell you how many times. It was very challenging to keep that franchise momentum going when there was nobody doing anything. But I'm very, very grateful that we just kind of stuck, I don't know, dug your heels in and just kept going. Finally got some traction in 2021 and had 8 open. And then 2022, we had 13 open. And then in 2023, we opened 12 new ones. And 2024, well, you can read. I mean, now we've got over 30, I think we have 34 locations open, 83 studios sold, and just the momentum is not slowing down. So it's a beautiful thing to see where this business is really going, and the goal is for getting there. I'm excited. I don't know if we've
Stephanie, can I
updated this
chime
map.
in?
Yeah,
Yeah, go back to the other. Go back one slide real quick, because I openly sort of joke with folks is like, 29 years in and we're an overnight success. So it's taken a lot of just amazing foundation, and then I think that in hindsight that slowness in COVID was actually good for us because we improved a lot of things and we rolled slow rather than try to like just go fast and run hard. And I would highlight, and I probably shared with each of you individually, we're really on what I would say like version 3.0 of CAC, and we improve with every new market, every new owner, and we've got an amazing team that collaborates. I shared with you all, right? Don't announce it to the world. Next on the 13th is when we're allowed to announce Entrepreneur Franchise 500 comes out, and so we got selected #1 in category. And each of these awards with Franchise 500 means a lot to me and to our team, because when they go in and evaluate brands, literally from Subway and McDonald's to children's art classes and everything in between, they interview owners and they see how are things going, what's the system, support, impact, profitability, and all of that. And so having been selected, and it's the 500, there's a lot of brands that out there. There's like 6,000 franchise brands, a lot of yucky stuff, but and we're also ranked 380 out of the 500. So not just best in category, but we're ranked 380, and we're excited. And we did that by Barbara and Stephanie's leadership, continuing to improve the model, and then it's paying out with the success of our owners. So thanks, Stephanie. I'm really proud of where we are, and again, overnight success, right? We're 29 years in.
Thanks, Sean. Hen, did I see your hand up? Did you have a question?
No, that was a clap.
No, not really.
Oh, but clap.
But I do have a question, actually.
Sure.
So, and I mean, I'm really happy to see like this success and definitely not an overnight thing. But I wanted to ask you, like, what in your opinion, dealing with all those challenges from COVID and then starting the franchise, what do you say like the most roadblock that prevents people from actually doing that? Like from interviewing so many people and working with so many potential franchisees, what do you say like the most common thing that usually comes up and then prevents people from moving forward with this?
Like moving forward, not jumping into a franchise? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
I think
I'll take that.
I'll
just because.
Yeah.
It's your show. Go ahead. I'll tag in after you. I apologize, Stephanie.
No, it's fine. And we can both speak to it. I think fear holds most people back. Jumping into a business is not for the faint of heart. And you hear that phrase, business in a box. Sure. To some extent, you have me, you have Sean, you have our real estate team, you've got our marketing team, you've got all the tools, all the curriculum. We've fallen through all the holes, so you don't have to, kind of thing. But at the end of the day, it's still going to be up to you. Who's doing the marketing? Who's talking to the families? How are we doing to make sure our teachers doing what they can and doing their best in the studio? So I think a lot of people who maybe don't pull the trigger, and I don't know who all they are, but I think that's probably the #1 thing. And I think that's probably the truth in a lot of aspects in our life. Fear holds us back from what we want to do. I think that's my answer. And Sean, you can speak to whatever you want to add.
Ditto. I shared the slide about the brands that we've had the opportunity to partner with and help grow. I openly shared that as you think about that football field analogy, we can help you. And our whole discovery process is to get you 90 yards down the field, really educate yourself, inform yourself, feel comfortable with it. That last 10 yards is always the individual. And Stephanie nailed it, is the fears, the uncertainties and doubts. Sometimes it's a partner that isn't fully vested, but it really does come down to that. And that's why I think that, doing validation and this session is really, as Stephanie takes you through, what is the role of the owner? What are you going to do when on a daily, weekly, monthly, annual basis? Really get your arms around that, helping recruit, hire, and So we'll probably get you another 5 yards, but that final 5 yards and pushing the goal line is really a truly personal decision that some people will hit pause and come back, and some people are just like, you know what, I'm going to keep this W-2. Now, what I will say on that W-2 path, it's the scariest time I've seen out there in my professional career. And in that some, mid-level management roles, the AI bots are coming for them, right? And people are downsizing and doing all that kind of stuff. And I took that leap about 10 years ago where, and really realizing like belief in myself and being able to control that and control and influence my destiny was really important. And so it is that fear. And then also one of the things we didn't talk about in that impact with the kiddos, one of the things I truly at my core is believe that the AI can't take away that creativity, can't take away that right side of the brain thinking and that confidence. And as I'm seeing it in so many factors, that's a benefit that CAC brings to our kids and our community and getting them creative and thinking. And that's a huge impact that we're going to make on, the families, our students, and everybody around the country. So we're saying the same thing. It is, a lot of people are like, very scared, but that's why we're here to support you. And you're going to learn a ton today.
Yeah, I'm an educator by trade, so this has got to feel good. It's got to feel good for your family. I would never want it to be any other way. Dennis always described it as a marriage. It's a marriage between me and with your family, and it's got to feel right. We work closely together. So you'll never find me pushing you into anything. Ask the questions, absorb the information, and whatever you decide is the right thing for your family. No hard feelings either way.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for
Sorry,
your
Omar
question.
had to drop, but I'm continuing the session with you guys.
Well, I'm glad he was able to come on with us for a little bit, and he'll get
Thanks,
the
Omar.
record. Yeah, so here we are. I'm still missing the state of New Mexico, and that's where this all began. So I'm disappointed in my state, but we're getting there. And I believe we're about to sign Washington, which is pretty cool. And Minnesota just came on, Waconia. My family's and my side of the family with my husband's family's in Minnesota. We were just up there freezing not too long ago. So what's unique about our program, and it is the differentiator between other art businesses, right, is that this does progress year after year with the student. I have so many of these beautiful stories, but this is just highlighting one individual. Her name is Anastasia. She started there as a tiny hand student when she was 3, and she stayed with us all the way through. She graduated high school last year. She was little angry at me because that was the only year I didn't get to teach her, and it was her senior year because I had already bailed out of teaching and had to focus on franchising. But she didn't really hold a grudge. She's just amazing, and watching her grow up in the studio and watching the confidence that this program has added to her life, it's a beautiful thing. She's going to go and be a doctor, but she does all of her art for stress relief. I'm like, you could do a lot more with it. She's really talented. But there's so much opportunity. So it really is an art academy. My mom kind of played with the idea of naming the business Children's Art Academy, but we didn't want to make this sound elitist in any way. We wanted it to be more, I don't know, just approachable. But they can come back year after year, and we're going to show you a little bit of the program and how that can be possible for these kids. And as a franchisee, this is really a part-time business. Once you're open, I'm going to talk about getting open, but once you're open, you have a solid teacher in place, or maybe 2 teachers in place that are teaching classes for you. This is a manageable thing. Most of our franchisees have a day job and family and all those responsibilities. But you can definitely manage this business part-time. The overall investment is relatively low in the world of franchising. What do we say? Up to about 150, Sean, all in for
Yep.
franchise fee and build out. It's gone up a little bit from this slide, but it's really between 100 and 150,000 all in. And with the team that we have in place, you've got support in all different categories. If it's not my wheelhouse, it's Sean's. If it's not Sean's, it's Scott's. If it's not Scott's, it's Gary's. We've got all of these things built as a team to help support our franchisees better, which is why Sean mentioned we're probably in version 3.0, because we've really added to our group of people to be able to provide those resources for our franchisee. So I want you to really take a look. We're going to look at your role as an owner and walk through this slide together. So annually, you will be responsible for creating your yearly schedule. And I say yearly, it's our 9-month curriculum. These are the classes that meet once a week for the whole school year. So what's really nice in this business is you're not having to create new things throughout the year and try to get more people registered. You've got these classes, the schedule is set. They're coming basically September through the end of May, sometimes early June. And it's all set in stone for the whole 9 months. Now, can you add a class if a class fills up? Absolutely. But that is the core of your income, are those reoccurring tuitions and getting those kids registered into those after school classes. You will also be able to offer birthday parties. We typically offer those Saturday and Sundays after our regular classes are out. We always prioritize our main students, but we do have the studio open for some parties. So you coordinate that just to make sure your teacher's available and basically send over the booking information. So there's a little bit of that in between participation as far as communicating with families. Coming up with your marketing budget, we really start that early. The marketing looks a lot different from when you start and you're trying to get your business open versus once you're open. Once you're open, your marketing becomes pretty predictable. We track what's working, you pay attention to what's not working, and you'll find 1 or 2 places that are bringing you kids that you'll stick with. I think we've used the same few marketing avenues for 15 years. You might throw up a Google ad here and there, but you'll find some solid marketing that you can actually see that's resulting in registrations, and that's what we want to be spending our money on. Now, through the summertime, I'm going to kind of skip down to the summer because that goes in order in my brain. So summertime, we have a totally different curriculum from our after school classes that are offered during the school year. Kids are out of school, right? So we offer summer workshops. There's an entire binder of summer workshop curriculum. So we follow that curriculum as well. But the difference is you have from 4 to 8 weeks that you can offer these summer workshops. One workshop is a 5-day class. It meets for 1 hour and 15 minutes, and then it's done. So we offer 4 of those every week of summer that we're offering workshops. So it could result in about 48 kids a week for registrations during the summertime. And I say 4 to 8 weeks because, again, it's going to be dependent on the availability of your instructors to teach those workshops. Summer workshops not only pay your bills, but it's an excellent feeder program for your fall registration. So you're going to see a lot of new kids coming in summertime taking these workshops that will then turn around and register for your classes that meet once a week when the school year is back in. We have played a little bit with summer camps, and summer camps, you can basically package together some of our workshops. But I have to say, after trial and error last summer, I just wanted to share with you guys that we're all going back to workshops, because here's what happened with the summer camps. Summer camp kids were a little bit different of the normal kid that comes to our studio that can live and breathe and do art for 4 classes in a row and never want to leave. Summer camp students were more like parents in a pinch, kind of need a place for the kid to be all day long. They may or may not thrive on art. And it's not necessarily going to be the student that's going to sign up for your fall classes. So we're going back to what we've done for 27 years and do the workshops. And if a kid wants to be there all day, they can. They just sign up for all 4 workshops. So that's kind of how the summer workshops play. There's opportunity to do some other special events kind of sprinkled through the year. So you might look at scheduling some of those, like you might do Santa Claus clay face Christmas party event, those kind of things that are special one-off events. But you got to be careful. It's a great way to market your business with these events, but you don't want it to be your reputation in the community because that already exists. There's already drop-off places, right? If you're going to do an event, make it very purposeful. Do it on a holiday. You know, maybe the kids are on spring break and you want to run a workshop for the kids that aren't going anywhere. That kind of stuff is great, but you got to be real careful not to overdo it with that because the last thing we want is people to know you for that instead of real art education where they can come. That's your bread and butter. Those are going to be the kids that stay with you for a long time. Okay, so springtime actually starts in January now. So our summer workshop schedules are all being created right now with all of our franchisees. That's on our plate for January. We are getting our summer schedules together because the marketing for summer camps and summer workshops and all that jazz is now pushed into February. It used to not even start till like April or May that these parents were looking at summer stuff for their kids, but it's happening really early. Everything is, it seems like everything's happening earlier and earlier in the year. So they say spring, but it's now January and we're all working on our summer workshop schedule. Once your schedule is set, you can start marketing well in advance to start filling up those workshops, and those will kick off in June. But really, those are the two times of year where you're creating a schedule. I have tons of training. I have proposed schedules for you. You don't have to come into this cold. I have schedules that are based on what are the best workshops that we've seen across the board. Here, choose these. So any place I can help you and help you get started and create that schedule, I'm there to help you. Any questions on anything that we covered on this slide? It's pretty straightforward, I suppose. Oh, I didn't mention. I didn't
do have a
mention August. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. I had a question about the previous slide when it talked about the investment in, yes, because we've seen in the FDD, I think that the number was more, but I wanted to understand what qualifies a candidate for financing and how does that work? Like, do we do it with a third party? I mean, I don't want you to kind of go into a lot of details that might confuse people, but I just
No, it's
want to
helpful.
understand from a general perspective what
I
qualifies
can take that, Stephanie. So,
Yeah, that's a great question too. Very relevant to
first, when Stephanie said it's gone up, the high end hasn't, but that low end has. It's really, you know, that 95K, I wouldn't budget that low. I'd probably budget, depending on market, 130 to 150K. And that's going to include really everything from your franchise fee to working capital. So, you know, you've got money in your business bank, like marketing and then build out and working capital, et cetera. So that's the context on what's gone up. And then by all means, we have some fantastic lending partners who focus on the franchise world on doing an SBA Express loan. Some of our owners have done the 401k rollover. Others have done HELOCs, et cetera. So I'm happy to make the introduction. I think that Ron over at Jumpstart is doing a really nice job. And one thing that I'd also highlight, it's in, we can schedule offline time too, is so we want to make sure that we phase when you're able to draw funds so that frankly, you're not paying a lot of interest on a whole big, like say it's 150K from day one, but we can do upfront, franchise fee, build outs, and then launch. And so by all means, reach out to me and we can go super deep on that. As I openly say, I'm the numbers nerd on the team. So we've got the contacts for you and get you dialed in.
Well, thank you, Sean. We have been already introduced to someone through Gus, but I still don't understand the bit that talks about financing. So I know the options to do with SBA and the rollover of the retirement account or whatever. But again, I'm not sure I understand how the financing work. But if that is with the money people, then we can definitely reach out to them like in a different time.
Oh, yeah.
I just thought you
Well,
might.
let's schedule time. Oh, yeah. But a lot of it's like individual. So yeah, let's get time, you know, today or Monday, and we'll nerd out on the numbers and walk you through like what are potentially good options. Yeah, and I forgot you're working with Gus. He's awesome. So he's also there in your court too.
Okay.
real quick on this slide before we go on, and thanks for that question. It's very relevant. Keep them coming. August is typically our slow month. In the whole cycle of what we do, August is typically when people are coming home from vacation, they're getting ready to go back to school. Um, you could run workshops, but you're probably not going to see as strong of enrollment towards that part, part of August. So we have always focused on August being getting ready for September, cleaning up, getting restocked. We do open houses, bring families in. You have the yard signs going on in front of your studio with the flag. Open houses are awesome for this business because you do have people who are very interested coming into the studio. And we usually average about 10 signups per open house because people are just coming in on a whim. Oh, we've been wanting to come in, blah, blah, blah. And you've got them in front of you. They can see the studio. They can see the pictures in your photo book. They can really get a great idea of what the kid's going to be doing. And I try to get my teachers there on the open house days so the kids can meet the teacher. I think that that's a big deal too for these kids to see who's going to actually be teaching the classes. So that's what we do in August. And then before we know it, we're back in the swing of things and starting classes all over again. And as an owner, we purposefully start our classes after the kids are back in school for at least 2 weeks. Everybody's tired. Everybody's a zombie. We want to have the kids fresh. We want the parents to kind of be in routine. So we start our classes a little bit after school starts, just because of that reason. Give them a little break. Okay, as an owner, while your classes are in session, I think your most important part of managing your teacher, so to speak, and when I say managing your teacher, we are hiring teachers. I need people who have at least 5 years experience in the classroom. They need to have the credentials. They need to have at least the Bachelor's of Fine Arts at the very least. I really look for art education, but and I help with these interviews because I know that if it's not you in the studio teaching classes, then we got to find somebody who is not going to make you a nervous wreck. We've got to have somebody in there that is good with classroom management, right? That's really important for your business's reputation. So when they are hired, our teachers have responsibility to the franchise, to me, to provide photos of their work. I want to see what's going out of the studio. This is the only form of quality control I can offer you as an owner is visually seeing what's getting produced in the studio. And this is part of their job. They have to submit photos every week of what's finished. This is for the first 3 years that they're there because by year 4, they're working through the rest of the curriculum. And this is really important that you make sure that that's happening because truth be told, when your doors are open and your classes are in session, your marketing becomes word of mouth. I mean, yes, we're still doing our marketing, we're still putting out in the guides, we're still doing all of those things, but you're going to really feel the growth when parents are talking to other parents and they're like, this place is legit. My kid's thrilled. They're learning so much. They're creating beautiful work. That's what's going to bring you more business. And that's what's going to continue these kids to come back year after year after year. So it's so important. If I speak on anything else on this slide, making sure that teacher is up to snuff and providing the education that's going to produce quality work for these kids, that's your marketing. That's your work going out the door. So you want to stay on it in the beginning, be at your studio as much as you can. You're gonna find that the more you micromanage in the beginning, the quicker you can step back and take a breath and not be there and not live there. This is not going to be the role of the restaurant worker where you're there 60 hours a week. That is not my plan for my franchisees. This is truly a lifestyle business, but it does take some work to get that in auto mode, autopilot is what I was trying to say. As far as the back office activities, we use Sawyer Tools for our platform. Sawyer Tools is designed specifically for kid businesses. It's awesome. We didn't used to have Sawyer Tools, and most of your month was collecting check and cash payments and chasing people down for bounced checks. So Sawyer Tools sets everything up with auto payments. So when parents register for the class, the credit card's stored. It's set up to charge the first of the month. If a card is stolen or compromised or expired, Sawyer will send out daily reminders to update the card. So by the end of the month, if you still have a straggler who hasn't updated, you've got one person to chase and 200 people to chase. So it really makes managing your money easy. You can run all your revenue reports through Sawyer. Your teachers will have access to not the financials in Sawyer, but they'll see full visibility of the upcoming calendar. So they'll see all the class rosters, all the kids that are registered into each class with the parent contact information. If the kid has an allergy, they are able to message individual students and their parents. They can message entire classes at one time using Sawyer. So it's a great communication tool for our teachers. And it also allows them to see as you're growing your business, new students are going to be coming in all year long. Like, especially right now, I don't know, 15 registrations this month. You see that in January because kids stop other activities and then they can start a new activity. So your teacher has to have visibility as new people come on so they're prepared and they're not blindsided when a new kid shows up. They don't want to look like a deer in headlights. They want to be set up for that kid and welcome that student in. So using Sawyer in that way is extremely important. Every month as an owner, you're going to submit marketing reports. This will show what you've spent. We have a $1,000 spend that's required until you reach 150 kids. The marketing piece, guys, is so incredibly important to growing your business. You don't want to skimp on marketing. We've been here for a long time and we still spend that every single month on our business. So you got to show, hey, I'm spending the money. Show us the receipts. This is important for your growth of your business. So we want to help you with that. And if we see that, this piece of money that you're spending every month isn't producing anything, let's shift. Let's look at something else that's going to work. I'm here to help you. In no way am I wanting to do anything other than let's get you off the ground. And I know of several things that I know are a flop, so I'm going to try to protect you in that way. If I know something is not worthwhile, don't spend your money there. Let's see. Monthly owners meetings begin again this month. I do go on vacation from those meetings during the summer because we're traveling all over the place checking on studios. But I love our monthly owners calls. I really try to keep them relevant. I'm not a corporate human, so I don't send out agendas weeks in advance. I just cover what's relevant to my owners in the month that we're meeting, so you know what's up and coming. If there's new developments within the franchise, if we have new owners come on board, I keep these meetings very positive. I like to highlight and spotlight anything that's going on at different locations. If people want to share different marketing ideas, it's very much a collaboration after I kind of give the bullet points of the things that we need to be watching for that month. Trisha, do you have a question?
Yes. So to me, it sounds like all the children's program and all of the payment processing all sounds intact, ready to go. Excited about that. Something else I'm really excited about, and that Michelle mentioned when I first talked to her months ago, is also building a community not just geared toward children, but also for adults. And I'm curious, how much is that happening? And I'm curious, how much leeway would I have to create special events for adults? Maybe not week-long things. I'm not sure that many adults would be able to do that, but how much leeway would I have to experiment with that and create new programs here, new and exciting things here? Here in San Francisco, there are so many. That's one question. Secondly, how much leeway would I have into bringing, for instance, if I know a muralist who I would love to teach some lessons or an entire series, how much leeway would I have to introduce that kind of thing for either adults or children?
You definitely have leeway. I'm not going to jump ahead because Sean's already scolded me in advance, but we are almost to that slide. So I'm going to go in deep. I'm going to go in deep, Trisha, about other opportunities outside of your regularly scheduled classes. So we will get there.
You saw the look on my face. It's coming.
I knew. Almost there, I promise. And those are great questions. Getting through this one so we can hop ahead. While your classes are in session, make sure your instructor is communicating with you. If there's any art supplies that are needed, they need to know this well in advance. We require our teachers to be 2 weeks prepped ahead of schedule. So if you have that student who's legitimately done with their work, it looks beautiful, there's no more corrections that they can make. There's no such thing as free draw the kids today. Can we free draw? I'm like, I don't know what this free draw is, but that's not what you're here for. So we're always advancing the kids to what are we doing next week? Maybe we can do a little practice of what's coming up. Maybe I can tell you more about the artist that this project is, focusing on. We're always teaching. We're always using that time for something productive. So your teacher has to be on it as far as getting prepped ahead of time. This is not something where they can just show up, wing it, not look ahead at the lesson plans. We really need that person who's invested in doing the best possible job with these kids that short amount of time that they have them every week. So as an owner, you need to make sure that your teacher knows that this is the expectation and this is what we require, and it's well in advance prep. You could probably start out with a week, an hour a week prep time for your teacher, and this time and showing up early and staying a little later, that paid time for their work doesn't need to necessarily be paid at the same rate as they're teaching. Prepping a bunch of construction paper and putting jiggle eyes aside, I don't think they need $30 an hour to do that, but they do need to get paid to do that work. And it is a part of their job. So I'm happy to help guide when it comes to structuring pay and things like that. I can give you my feedback. 4 hours a week minimum your first year in business. Again, all the studio owners that I see successful from the beginning are there as much as they could possibly be there. And it's really just to ensure that those expectations are being met. And once they're understanding of this is how it rolls, it's a pretty smooth operation. But I think that everybody needs that gentle reminder like, hey, we don't leave anything on the tables that night, or hey, we hang work shirts on the chairs before we turn everything off at the end of the day. This is still a business. An art business can look real bad real quick if you don't have an organized teacher, and a lot falls on that teacher. They're like your little studio manager. Arthur, go ahead.
Yeah, so you talk about individuals benefiting from as much time as they can be there. Is there a point that you've seen where there's diminishing returns, right? Because obviously you spend 80 hours a week at the studio, and at a certain point
Oh,
you're not getting value, right?
yeah, there's
And so what are
we
you
don't
seeing as
allow them
the
to
upper
come more
limit?
than once. Yeah, we don't do more than once a week for the kids. It's
No,
the
I mean
curriculum.
for the owners. You're saying the time investment into the business,
Oh,
uh,
gotcha.
yielding returns,
Yeah.
but there's going to be diminishing returns at a certain point, right? What is kind of the upper
Oh,
limit
sure.
you're seeing for individuals that have a lot of success as far as how much time they're spending per week in the business?
I think that in the very beginning, owners will try to be there every day for an hour just to kind of oversee, talk to parents as they come in. This is like right when you first open, because it's like
Yeah.
having a brand new baby, and now you're like, here you go. There's
Mhm.
baby, don't break it. And so you want to be there to oversee things.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need to be excessive amount of time. And you have to remember that you're only going to be open about 4 hours after school every day. So, to get that hourly time in, you could spend one day there making sure all the classes are going well. But I think it would be good to be present, even if it's just like an hour a night to stop in, just so the teacher knows, hey, I'm watching you. I want to make sure everything's going good. But yeah, I don't expect you to live there by any means. You don't need to live there.
Sure.
But I will tag in it as well on like overall work in your business is especially in your grand opening. See now, Stephanie, I'm jumping ahead. That
You are.
pre-opening marketing and launch, and she's going to go into it. That's the most critical, time-intensive, and effort that you'll ever put into your CAC studio. So, see, I was jumping ahead. I won't do it, but yeah, like Stephanie said, once you're open, you don't need to babysit your teachers. We're going to help you recruit, hire,
No,
and train great people.
absolutely. And if you can stop by at the end of a birthday party, if you know there's a big party of 20 kids coming on a Saturday afternoon, and you pop over at the end of the party just so you can have some FaceTime with those families, encourage them to learn a little bit more about your classes and let them know that we're not just really about the birthday parties. This is actually what we do. It's just being a part of your business, and I think people appreciate seeing the business owners' faces and putting that face to the name.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Okay, so your first year that you're open, you'll have 4 levels of curriculum on your schedule. You'll have tiny hands, which are the littles, the 3 and 4-year-olds. These classes, we limit to 2 classes on your schedule. There's usually not a huge demand for tiny hands because they're so little, and there's only 6 students to the class. So we usually start you out with like a Thursday, 3:15 to 5 or 3:15 to 4 o'clock, and maybe a Saturday morning, like a 9:30 to 10:15. So you're not going to have a ton of tiny hands, but certain markets have a demand for it. So we can always, see what your market's like. And if you have a ton of little tinies, I mean, we can put more classes on the schedule by all means. But as a teacher, it's probably the hardest level of classes to teach. It's a lot of work for those little kids, and they're learning everything new, and they're learning how to stay in their chairs, and everything is a learning experience. So that 45 minutes is enough with those 6 kids, believe me. My son started when he was 3. It was tough being a strong-willed child's teacher with other kids. So you'll have that maybe a couple times on your schedule. Introduction to art, one of my favorite levels of the curriculum to teach are for the 5 and 6-year-olds. And let me back up a tiny bit. Tiny Hands, Introduction to Art, and Beginning Art all have 2 years worth of curriculum. Okay, so if you get a student come in and they're 5 years old, it doesn't mean that they've had to have tiny hands. They come in right where they're at. If they're 5, we know they're going to go into Introduction to Art. And if they turn 6 and they come back to you the next year, they're going to be an Introduction to Art, and it's year 2 of the intro program. So nothing will repeat. That is why we have 2 levels for each one of those levels of curriculum. The Introduction to Art, this is a very popular class typically. We usually have 3 or 4 different class times on the schedule. And when I say different class times, it means your Monday 4 o'clock kids, those are your Monday kids. You're going to see a totally different group on Tuesday. You'll see a totally different group on Wednesday. So they commit to that day and time. That way you don't have kids hopping all over the place, making your teachers nuts. So Introduction to Art, it's 10 students at a time. They meet for 1 hour a week, and they're really being introduced to so many different mediums. We do so much clay and stained glass and printmaking. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of teaching them how to see. They do a lot of drawing with each class, each project. And typically they're doing something new almost every week. Maybe some of the projects are 2 weeks if they're doing clay, but a lot of new stuff in introduction. Now, Beginning Art, also 2-year program. This is for our 7 and our 8-year-olds. You'll have 3 or 4 different class offerings for beginning as well. And it's getting a little more serious. They spend 2 to 3 weeks on a project, and they're meeting for an hour and 15 minutes, and there's 12 students in the class. Go ahead, hon. I see your hand up.
Uh, so our classes are based on age only. Sometimes it happens that 5, 6 years old kid comes up, but his or her level is maybe a beginning art or something like that. So are there teacher is going to judge that way, or maybe not 7, 8 year kid is there, but it's he or she should be in introduction or to art. So are we moving like that, or is there, or it's just a age-based curriculum that we will go?
So 27 years, thousands of kids taught. It's so dialed in to be an age-appropriate curriculum. So if they're a new kid coming in, all you need to know is the age, regardless of previous classes taken. They'll start with the age-appropriate level. Now, that being said, there might be a time where maybe you have a 9-year-old who's in Art 1. And this 9-year-old, it's just not clicking. Art 1's pretty serious. It's getting real. And there's no harm in taking that 9-year-old down to beginning. If it's going to make that kid happy, if it's going to give them an extra year to get more confidence and more maturity, that is fine. It doesn't happen very often, but we would never want a kid to not be with us if we can accommodate them in another way. Same thing like you mentioned, if we have a 7-year-old that maybe is working at more of a 5-year-old pace. I have no problem with doing what's best for the kid. But overall, the majority is going to be perfectly fine where they come in based on their age, if that makes sense. Okay.
Thank you.
Arthur, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sure.
Hi, how many class or how many projects would you say get completed in that 9 month time?
For the little kids, for Tiny Hands, close to 40 projects because they're doing something new every single week. Introduction is closer to 35 projects roughly because some of them take 2 weeks. Beginning is about 25 projects. Art 1 is 7 projects. You can see how by the time they get to Art 1 is a totally different animal than all the other classes. So, does that answer that question for you?
It does, yeah. What kind of flexibility is there to have the ability to sign your kid up for just one of the projects or a couple projects? Because I know we have a 7-year-old and we've done like a 9 month program for her before with a different activity, and it was too much of a commitment for her. It was very difficult to get her
Yeah.
to go for 9 months.
It's not a fit for everybody. It's not. If you have somebody who's more interested in like a one-time project, I always offer the summer workshops are great. They're there for 5 days and then they're done. You can always offer like if you have upcoming events, like the clay classes that you might have coming up, you can offer that. But the student that we see comes every week, and the kids that are with us really want to be there every day, truly. So it's not we don't bend to fit people that aren't looking for what we have, if that makes sense. Instead, we can offer what we do have that might be more fitting, but we're not a drop-in curriculum, and that's why we're different, I think, than so many art places that already are out there.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you'll see like again, sort of upcoming slides as she jumps into the curriculum. It's a progression, right? So maybe they don't like the first project with ebony pencil, but they don't realize that as they move forward and they get into the painting and the other stuff, all those foundational skills were taught back in ebony pencil, and that's how they really develop themselves and learn to identify shapes and all those kind of things. And so. And maybe they don't particularly like a particular project or whatever, but you'll see that development. That's our stickiness. I mean, you guys have seen our retention is astronomical from year 1 to 2 to 3, etc. And it's because of how it's been structured. And again, kudos to Stephanie and Barbara in like really refining that over the years. I want to get to the curriculum, but you got your hand raised.
Yeah, sorry, it's about the curriculum as well. I remember asking you about that, Stephanie,
It's
before, but
coming.
I'm sorry, I forgot the answer
Oh,
to
it's
that.
okay.
It's a personal thing. Again, it's a personal constraint. I just want to understand, especially in Art 1, how much of a sculpture is in there? Like, do they get to a place where they sculpt people, um, like mini statues or something like that, or that doesn't happen? Because I mean, I'm loving the curriculum so far.
Not in
I'm
Art
really
1.
thinking, not in
Yeah,
art.
Art 1, it's all focused on drawing technique. They're learning the basics like value, texture, line, all the art fundamentals. They work with ebony pencil. They do a rendering that takes them 8, 9 weeks to complete, learning so much in that one project. They do a still life, scratch board. They do an India ink project. If we have enough weeks, we do a clay project with them. That's like a clay self-portrait. And then they get into color theory and finish with the color design. By the time they get to Art 4, if they're into sculpture, they could do it all 9 months if that's their focus. Because by Art 4, it's individual study. They're working under their own contract of what they want to do. We do have summer workshops that sometimes involve like clay busts and different things like that. And I'll highlight that too, Hen. We do have so many great teachers with us on our staff now across the country where if somebody has a workshop idea for something new, I have to approve it, But if it fits with what we do and somebody there is capable of teaching that lesson, I want to roll it out across all of the studios. I want to keep things consistent, so there's nothing rogue out there, but I understand there's always something new. And to Trisha's point earlier, if you have an artist that's phenomenal at wood burning and you want to offer this and make a class at your studio in summertime, bring it to me. I mean, I think that's amazing. We have a digital artist that worked for Pixar. He's out at our Utah location, and they did a test run digital workshop last summer, which was excellent. A lot of interest in that, and he had the background. So I'm putting that actually into the curriculum for other locations to use as long as their teacher has the background and they want to teach that class. It's great. We're adding crochet this summer because that's been a big interest for a lot of kids, and I've got a lot of instructors that know how to do that. So I have lesson plan. I'm behind the eight ball on that, but I'll be adding that to our curriculum. And anytime something is added, there's got to be a new listing created. The curriculum is added. Everybody has to add it to their notebook. I mean, it's a process, so there does take some review, and I want a close eye on that. So we're not doing something that falls more into the line of arts and crafts. But there's a lot of opportunity. I think we spoke about calligraphy together, Hen, if my memory is
Yeah, I'm sorry.
anything.
I think you kind of misunderstood my question. I just because I mean I love how everything's kind of pinned down and organized in terms of the curriculum. This is something that I really love. I just want to make sure that sculpture is not part of it, not the other way
Oh,
around.
not unless the kid wants to start sculpture at Art 4. It's not
Right.
part
Okay.
of
Awesome. I
any
mean
of the lessons.
that answers my question. Sorry if I confused you about that. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, that's okay. No, thanks for clarifying. No, that's fine. You'll see down here other activities and events. It's really based on your instructor's background. I mean, maybe you have an art therapist that wants to help kids and do art therapy once a week at your studio. It's all about the credentials. There's a lot of people that throw around therapy, like anybody can be one, but there's an actual degree. So if they are a certified art therapist and you want to offer that at your studio, if you have a teacher who has a background in helping kids with special needs, um, maybe you have a small group of kids that are on the spectrum and they need more one-on-one attention, and they're more sensory issues. There's so much that we can do to help people using this outlet. So always bring it to me if you have an idea. My mom teaches a senior citizen class at our studio here in Jacksonville. It's a 3 o'clock class because nobody can drive after dark. And she just loves it. And these people are getting on in their years and they're so tickled that they're learning these skills, and producing these amazing pieces of art they never thought they could do. But we got that class created just by posting a sign in the window of all these people coming in, taking their kids. And we're like, hey, if you want to learn too, we teach adults. So there's a lot of opportunity there, and we can kind of cater that to where you live and what's needed in your community. Trisha, did I answer most of your questions? If not, hop in.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, if something
Okay.
comes up, I'll ask. Yeah.
Okay, great. Typical schedule you're seeing here. Again, I have a proposed schedule. Some studio owners do the Monday, Thursday, and Saturday schedule to start out. Some owners double up on Mondays and utilize both spaces because everybody's at church on Wednesday. I mean, it really just depends on how you want to do it. But I don't think that you need more than a 4 or 5 day schedule to start. We want to start with at least 80 kids. There's certain things in place to hit those requirements because you don't want to start your classes with one kid in a class. That's not the vibe that we want. So we work hard to fill the schedule that you start with, and you can always add more. You can grow in and add a day. Maybe you want to put some classes on Friday. But this is just kind of a rough schedule of kind of where we would start. Homeschool classes are all the rage this year here in Florida. I've added 3 different homeschool classes to my schedule that were in the morning. There's a lot of flexibility with homeschool students that are able to come in the morning, so that's always an idea if you have a big need for homeschool classes. So I'll help you with that initial schedule. Birthday parties and events. They're lots of fun. We do keep it to painting or clay. And then within those parameters, the teacher can come up with the subject matter. Typically, birthday parties are based on the theme. Harry Potter birthday party. Okay, maybe we're gonna do Harry Potter figurines, or it really just depends. These kids are painting unicorns. It's really dependent on what the child's interest is, and we do give our teachers the flexibility to come up with visuals and things like that for the party. But we're not one of those places where everything is pre-drawn ahead of time for the party. We're still wanting to represent what we're all about, which is teaching kids. So even if they're doing a painting, we're still going to instruct them on how to draw what they're painting. So it's still relevant, it's still consistent with our brand, and the kids love it, and they're so capable of it. We do clay mostly with younger kids. I typically lean towards clay versus the painting when they're like 5 or younger. But the older kids love clay too. It's kind of a thing. So this slide is very special, and I'm going to let you, Sean, I'm going to rest my mouth and let you talk about this slide. If that's
I knew this one was coming. So, all right, everybody remember the Brady Bunch? Hopefully, some of you are a little bit young. So, and this is really near and dear. Again, I appreciate everybody's condolences. So, a couple of years ago, Dennis was remodeling his family's charity ranch, and they built this Brady Bunch staircase. And so, if you have those flashbacks, I remember seeing it. Goodness, 2 years ago. I'm dating myself. That staircase is right there in his ranch, and up there, their charity ranch. They also have a wiffle ball scale version or size version of Fenway Park, and they raise a couple $100,000 a year for pediatric cancer and their families. And so host events up there, do wiffle ball tournaments, etc. One of the pieces that he needed to have is Mom's favorite vase. So if you flash back, you remember that Brady Bunch episode where they broke Mom's favorite vase. We had never, ever seen Mom's vase prior to that moment, but hey, they broke it. And so he needed to have that in the charity ranch. And so reached out to Stephanie, and we talked about unique projects, et cetera, and said, let's do a competition. And I'll give you a $250 scholarship for whoever creates the best replica of that Brady Bunch vase. And so we did it, ran it, and you can see the beautiful vase under construction is there in the lower left. And then right there on the right in that wonderful setting is the vase in action, and it's just amazing. So this is a good example of doing special events and other projects that we can do throughout the year, and holidays, ornaments, like coming up in February. We always do something special. It's always great when Dad takes a kid to CAC and they do something special for Mom for Valentine's Day, or Easter, or other holidays, different. And we celebrate really important, I will say it, as a middle-aged white guy, art is not about all these old white European people. It's about all cultures and communities around the world, and we celebrate that. And those are incorporated in our curriculum too. So it's not all Van Gogh and Picasso. There's amazing art in all cultures around the world. And that's something you'll see in our curriculum too.
Thanks, Sean. Here we go.
I got through it without crying. That was great.
You did. It was amazing. So over the years, this curriculum, obviously, things have been tested, tried out, tweaked. We used to do Art 1 for 8-year-olds. It was a little bit too hard for 50% of the 8-year-olds. That's why we created a second year of beginning. There's so much purpose and thought to what we do for these students. And it really has been why this business has been so wonderful throughout the years, is because our expectations of the kids are not lowered. We let those kids rise to meet the expectations, and our teachers, who are experienced teachers, know how to reach students in different ways. Just because the lesson plan is this doesn't mean that as a teacher you don't change your approach on how you get that child to have that light bulb moment and make it make sense. And that's the best part, honestly, guys, is seeing the kids' faces when they look at something that they didn't believe that they could do. This is definitely technique driven. We focus on teaching the skills needed for these kids to be successful at whatever they want to do. When we go through Art 1, then Art 2, then Art 3, every project is planned. So when they get to Art 4, they have 40 areas of art under their belt. and they can do it and they can draw and they can see and they understand color theory and then you can just let them spread those wings. Because I hear that sometimes, well, this isn't really, they can't really be creative. Oh, they're going to get to be creative, but we want them to be successfully creative. Let's teach them the skills that they need so they can be successful and they can take these journeys all at the ripe old age of 13 when they reach Art 4. You know, you have these kids at such a young age, by the time they get to 13 or 14, this is the work. Age 12, right here, that car that's painted. This is gouache
Mind
painting. This
blowing.
is a project that the kids do in Art 3. And this is not one exceptional student. This is what we do. This is what we teach. So they're learning, 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 and this is the quality of work that these 12-year-olds are producing. I see two hands, but I don't know who is up first.
That's okay.
Okay,
So,
go ahead.
in general, sorry, in general, like introduction to art or art one, we may get the number of student what we required in that particular class, right? But it may happen that in art 3 plus or in advanced level, maybe we will not achieve the number of student which we minimum required in the class, but there are 2 or 3 students who wanted to proceed further. Then how we are handling it?
So from based on my experience having this business, you're not going to see the dwindling down of enrollment. Typically not until you get to Art 5. I mean, we have kids that stay through Art 10. So it's usually when you start to see a dip is really when they're at that age where they're making choices now. Is art their main jam? Or are they really wanting to pursue volleyball? You're going to see like Art 4 and 5. We have about two right now on the schedule. We have 3 advanced classes at our Jacksonville schedule. They're full. So they're about 36 advanced kids, and those are your Art 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s. They're all together in one class. So you usually have at least 2, if not 3 advanced classes for those students that are continuing on year after year after year. With your Art 1, your first year in business, when you have the highest level is Art 1, which is a prerequisite for everything else. We're talking if you're 9 or you're 16, you come into Art 1. And believe me, you'll have conversations. I just had one yesterday with the mom. She was 15. I was said, send me what your kid's done because she was taking art at school. She sent me her portfolio. I sent her back the pictures that she's going to do in Art 1, and she signed her up for Art 1. It's very rare that you're going to see somebody that has artwork at the level that we have at the Art 1. So Art 1, you'll probably have about 7 classes on your schedule for all those 9 and ups, because that's the majority of your students are 9 and older. In your second year, when we add Art 2 to the mix, we actually teach the Art 1 and 2 curriculum simultaneously. You'll still have only 12 kids in the class, but what this does, it doesn't isolate you to an only Art 2 class on your schedule, because what if it doesn't fill up? You can't put anybody else in there because Art 2 is prereq, you have to have Art 1. So by allowing the class to be Art 1 and Art 2 going on, you've got a lot of options for families to choose a time that works for them. And it's a really cool setup too, because the Art 1s get to see like a preview of what they're going to do next year, which gets them excited. And the Art 2 kids are so proud because they've already done Art 1. So now they're the experts and they can talk about, oh yeah, I remember how hard that was, So it's a really nice dynamic and these kids get really close. By the time you get to Art 3, you'll probably have 2 or 3 classes worth of Art 3 students, and Art 3 is so involved that we don't have Art 1 or 2 in there. It's just Art 3 kids, and we typically put those classes at the later class times because the kids are getting a little older. So we help you kind of continue the development of that schedule. I don't know if I hit all of your questions, Hen. You tell me.
Yeah, I mean, some of the understanding I get it. So,
Oh, I'm sorry, Zankana. I thought Hen was talking because her microphone was off. Sorry. Go
Okay.
ahead.
no, I got the idea what you are talking. So yeah, I got my answer. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. And Trisha, I see your hand too. Thanks for being patient.
Yes, no problem. Actually, that I think that's I had the inverse question. Like, what if you have a 16-year-old that comes in and they don't have the foundation there, and you don't want to put them in a classroom with 9-year-olds? So it sounds like you combine classes, age-appropriate classes, but you can combine two and one together, so they have that experience with. Okay, got it.
Yeah, and I'm very cognizant of that too, as I see enrollments going on. I don't want to label a class like Art One for Teens again because it could limit your enrollment.
Mhm.
So rather than going Art One for Teens, I just keep an eye on it. If I see a kid and they're 15 and everybody else is 9, I'm gonna call the mom and just say, "Hey, I see that your kids signed up for Wednesdays at 5, and not to be alarmed, it's perfectly fine, but I do have a Thursday class that is mostly teenagers if they'd rather be in that class." So I always have that communication going on with the family as well, because if you are in your first year of business, you're going to see some teens sign up. And I try to avoid that teenager being blindsided coming into a room full of 9-year-olds. So I always like to give the family a heads up and offer a class that might have more students the same age as their kid. And if that kid doesn't care, it's fine. But I always like to give them a heads up so they know what they're walking into.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay. So the continued growth is truly remarkable, and you guys will be registering the younger kids. Like if your class isn't full, you can start a kid wherever you are during the school year. So just because classes start in September doesn't mean you can't take a new student in March. They're just not going to have all of the projects. So they can register, finish out the school year, and go on to the next level. That's the younger kids. So Tiny Hands can do that because they're doing something new almost every week. Introduction to Art, the 5 and 6-year-olds. You can take a new kid in at any point during the year. And even the beginning art students, you can take a new student, even if it's late into the year. Art One is different. And I can't remember if I have a slide on this or not, Sean. So I'm just going to talk about it now so I don't forget. But Art One is unique because Art One is progressing. They're learning, they're applying what they've learned. It definitely progresses through the school year, which is different from the younger kids. So we have it designed within the summer workshop program where if you take an Art One student and your class is on the third project of the year, meaning the kid comes in and has missed the two major projects at the beginning of Art One, well, they need those projects. They need to have them to be successful in Art 2. We want this to be a great experience for that student. Again, it's a conversation with the mom. Still enrolling for this year. Cutoff is at the end of this month. However, if you sign up for Art 1, they're going to have to take beginning drawing and beginning charcoal in summer because those are the two projects that were missed in Art 1. And so every summer, by design, we have those two projects on the schedule at least 2 different times in the summer, and we put them on our schedule back to back so that if a family did have their kiddo come in and they missed those two projects in the beginning, they're able to come Monday through Friday, 2.5 hours each day, get done with the projects, and then they'll be able to go on to Art 2 in the fall. But we do have that conversation. I do believe in making sure that the kid has all the tools in the belt, and I wouldn't want it to be a substandard experience for that student. So I let them know that that's an option to make up in the summertime. And nothing ever repeats. And the beauty of that, like I mentioned, is when they get to that Art 4 level, it's very rewarding as a teacher because you become the facilitator and kind of guiding and keeping these kids out of their comfort zone, and they get to try different things. We had one kid that wanted to be a fashion designer, so we got her a secondhand sewing machine, taught her how to sew, bought her a big bust. She made the patterns. She did that for 9 months of the school year, and at the end of the year, we were like, "Well, what do you think? You gonna do fashion design?" She's like, "I hated it. I hated all of it. I don't ever want to do that again." Like, that's perfect. She was 13, It's like, great. At least you didn't pay for 4 years of college going into fashion design. We don't like it. You tried it. What are we going to do next year? So you're really able to get these kids experience and help to guide them with what they think they want to do. And you have that, there's no limit to what they want to try. We've done fabrication, real stained glass, sculpture, but it's truly that individual student's journey. So we're helping them with that. So that's why they can come back, art 4, art 5, art 6, until they're out and going on to the next thing. Another student, this is Grace. She's a little beginner. She started when she was 7. I was with her at college graduation and now, or not college graduation, high school graduation. And now she is a junior at Savannah College of Art and Design. If you're not familiar with SCAD, it's one of the #1 art schools in the country. We've had many students go on to SCAD with scholarship based on their portfolio. Grace comes to visit me in the summers and I love her to death, and she's studying architecture now. But she's just an amazing person that I got the blessing to watch her grow up in the studio. All right. Ebony Pencil. This is the project that blew my mind. I was still in college and my mom was teaching. Now she was not in the garage. She was in the Roswell Mall doing children's art classes. And when I saw this project and these little bitty kids holding this artwork up, I'm like, how is that even possible? And this is the project, guys, that is the hardest out of the entire curriculum. And I'll say it and I'll say it again. This is the most challenging for the teacher. It's the most challenging for the student, but it is the project where these kids learn so much and they're so excited about what they've done after this project is over. The lesson plans are very specific. This is truly taught in a way that everybody can learn it. And it's broken down in a way where even 9-year-olds can understand it. Like I said, we used to teach it to 8-year-olds. But the curriculum is broken down week by week. We keep the kids on their goal. So every time they come in, they know how many boxes, or they're working from a gridded photograph. So we've taught them how to use the grid method. So they're working one box at a time, making sure that everything's proportional to the photograph. And the ebony pencil comes into play once the drawing is done. Then they've done a value study, so they understand lights and darks. So they're looking for those lights, they're looking for those blacks, they're looking for the white areas, and they're just phenomenal. And it's not just one kid that has success. It's all of our students, whether you've had any kind of art experience, at all. This is the quality of artwork that we see from these students. Oops, it jumped ahead of me. I don't know. It's okay. We used to do art shows every single year. And after COVID, we haven't been doing them at the size that we normally did, but we used to do like 10,000 square foot of retail at this dilapidated mall that's here in Jacksonville. And we would take over that space for about a month and host a huge art show for all the kids that had come all year long. And it would draw like 1,000 people, huge event. And I love that so many of our franchisees are doing smaller scale art shows in their studio. I have it in the ops manual. If you ever wanted to do an art show, I think it's such a beautiful thing for the kids. It's kind of like their recital. And it's really a great way to get kids coming back to you each year because they're excited to show off what they've done. Oh, I didn't see your hand, Arthur. Go ahead. Or Megan.
Go ahead.
Hi, I just wanted to backpedal a little bit. When you were talking about
Sure.
the class, like how if somebody comes in after the first couple projects and then in the summertime would have to complete those first 2 projects before they move on to art 2. If everything is progressive and builds on what they've already learned and they've found the kind of success they need to move on to art 2, why do they need to retroactively do those first 2 projects then?
As a teacher and knowing what they learn in those 2 projects, I feel like it would be doing a disservice, truthfully. That's such a huge integral part of Art 1. Even the lessons leading up to those projects are still taught to the kids because of the information that they learn. There's a value lesson that the kids do first day. So even though these kids are coming late into the program and they're starting with the 3rd project, I still have the teachers go back and teach the value lesson, the grid lesson, all of those things that were needed for those first 2 projects. They use what they've learned in those first two projects for the rest of the curriculum, Art 2, Art 3, Art 4. So it's essential to the foundational learning that we offer.
So then if they're using that information that they learned from the first 2 classes and the teachers continue to go over that for the rest of the projects, I guess I'm still a little confused about why they would need to complete those first two projects if the information that they learn, the techniques that they learn, are used throughout the rest of the projects that they have worked on.
The information as far as how to grid and how to work from a gridded photograph, that's utilized in the Scratchboard and the India Ink project. They don't do a still life project other than that second project in Art One. How to work from a still life is really hard, and that's the only time that that's taught is that second project in Art One. And the ebony pencil rendering, they don't do ebony ever again. So it's just a big piece of the puzzle and different mediums that we want all of our Art One students to experience. If they don't have, there's a window this big where we cut up, like we take new students and then it's cut off because we know that they've missed too much at that certain point. So it's a very small window, and it's usually until about mid-March when we turn off the Art One from the current schedule, knowing that we can't take any more new students. And the following month, we'll have the brand new schedule for new students to register for the following school year. And also the summer workshop schedule is available as well. So we don't like to not take new kids, but we know that at that point, it's going to be a little bit too much to catch up on. But yeah, those two
Yeah,
projects,
and
go ahead.
sorry. I was saying I think that getting very focused on it's great. Yeah, again, I go back to 70 shared, going all the way back years and years, is having these policies in place, and now we've got the 38 open. We really haven't run into this. It's a great question and great dynamics as you open, and you might have those questions like, hey, I got this parent that's like really myopic, really focused on this. Help me out. That's what we're here for. And we'll help you out. But, really want to be able to do that and celebrate their success. Want to build those foundations. Again, that's why we're not like, after hours, like the pottery places and these drop-in classes, like Trisha said. San Francisco has tons of great like weekend art projects, like occasional after-school projects, but it is that foundation, that progression that differentiates us. And I think that when we articulate that to parents, they get it, and they're like, hey, I use my son's name, Andrew, suck it up, go do the project, and you're going to develop some skills. And then when you get through that, you're going to be in great shape, buddy.
It's definitely not meant for punishment. It's always in the best interest of the kid.
Suck it up, Andrew.
Sometimes
Sorry.
Shut up, Andrew. And we work with families too. If again, it always goes back to what's best for the kid. And let's say they go to India. I have so many families that leave and go see family in India for months or the whole summer. And they, if we have that conversation and we can figure out a way for their kid to come in twice a week so they can catch up on the projects they missed during the school year, we're flexible. It always comes down to what's best for the student. The gouache project I spoke about, the car, by the time they get to Art 3, a grid drawing has taken them an hour. They understand color theory. They can mix all their own colors. It's pretty amazing. But again, it's working their way through. It's college level stuff, and they don't know that it is, but they're so capable of it. And it's beautiful to see the results. This is June. He was one of our students. That's gouache. Gouache is an opaque watercolor paint. It's beautiful. And you can just see that those wine glasses are all comprised of shapes, and they know how to look for them, and they know how to do the tints and the shades of the colors. So the results are beautiful. And we were pleasantly surprised when students were going to portfolio days, and we were recognized because the portfolio lady from SCAD was like, where are you doing this work? She had visited 7 countries and seen thousands of portfolios, and she had never seen artwork done to this level. She came to our studio, and then she ended up being a friend, and she stayed with us and was our judge for many years for many art shows. And she still comes and does portfolio reviews for our advanced students. She's a great lady. This is Shiloh was another student that traveled through the program, and Shiloh actually went to college, came back, and she taught for me for 3 years. She's back to college now. She wants to do art therapy. But it's really beautiful to see that this also is an opportunity for your students. If somebody wanted to teach one day, if somebody wanted to own their own business one day, it's another opportunity in the art world that we can provide for these young people. So I'm going to walk you through the launch plan. I work very closely with each one of my franchisees launching their business. The initial, let's say you're ready to go, you sign and you wire. I'm going to get on the phone with you. We meet together and we go through operations manual, and I kind of introduce you to other members of our team. And our first focus is finding you a studio. I mean, before we can do any marketing or anything else, we have to get an address. So we work with Gary Litvin. He's the director of NAI Elliott, which is a nationwide realtor company. And Gary has brokers that he works with all over the country. So we meet with Gary. We're going to meet with your local broker, and this person is knowledgeable about children's art classes. And Gary and I pre-screen everything so you don't go out there and fall in love with something that isn't going to check all the boxes. We know the traffic counts. We want to check demographics, number of school-aged kids, what are the other businesses around, all of those things go into, making sure that these spaces are going to be something that would worthwhile to you. So that's an important part of the journey. Once we have a lease signed, then you and I are meeting every other week to go through and basically like your live list to make sure that we're getting everything done that needs to get done. It's when we start to do a job post and find you some teachers to interview. Once we have your address again, then all guns ablazing is going to marketing. And this is the push. This is the time period that you can take your enrollment from 0 to 100 so you have income from day one. This is the most amount of work. I'm telling you, eyeball to eyeball. I want to be completely transparent. It's a ton of work to do the marketing. This is bringing a new business into the area. We want to have visibility from the road, which helps having a nice big children's art classes sign. Everybody knows what your business is, which is why we want to choose studios that are visible. But marketing is huge, and you've got to spend the money. You've got to put the effort in. And I can tell you, over all the things that we do, it's those community events, it's the face-to-face conversations with families in the community that turn prospective students into registered students. You can throw money at social media all day long. It's not what converts. You'll have good brand awareness, but it's not what brings you students. I've done this for a long time. I have plenty of franchisees that are experiencing the same thing. You got to understand that a big part of building the marketing is boots on the ground. You can avoid it, you'll grow slowly, or you can just embrace it and go as hard as you can, and you'll never ever do it again. But we have tons of marketing materials ready to go for you in Canva. This is what I call our cheapo flyer. We got 30,000 of these bad boys made when we were marketing our business in Jacksonville and peddled them out to 200 schools. And I opened with 135 kids with no website, no nothing, mail-in registration. It was a ton of work. I've never had to do the work again. But you want to figure out if you are up for the challenge. And if you don't want to do that piece, it's going to be a slower growth. I mean, full transparency. You want to get into the schools. You want to do things like farmers markets, back to school events, places where you can have a booth and really talk to people about what your program's all about. Again, it's a new business in your area. This is not McDonald's. You have to be able to talk to people, and it's a kid business. So those of you with kids, understand that you're, as a parent, you're going to want to know all the things that are the best for your kid. And I field phone calls still to this day for my family businesses. Having the conversation registers the child. So I want you to remember that when you're in that marketing process, because you're going to just want to focus on building out your studio. And if you eat up that time and only focus on the build out of your studio and forget about the marketing, they're going to open your doors paying teachers, paying bills, and only having a handful of kids. So that's not the goal. The goal is to get you paying yourself back from the beginning. Sean, I don't know if you want to, what did I miss? A school digger. There's some resources there that we know are tried and true. But local websites too are really effective in addition to the flyers. Macaroni Kid is nationwide. That's a great resource that has like 20, 30,000 parent reach that people subscribe to. So it's a great place to promote your summer workshops and your after school classes, things like that. So we look at everything. There's certain marketing opportunities that I would pass on, like direct mailers don't really yield a great return in investment. They're really
No.
expensive. We'll throw them away. Those kind of things.
Well, and I think that's where you all are at a really nice stage in the growth of CAC, because we've got we've got people who have tried things, and we've done that. Like one of our owners, you guys might have met Rob in validation, and he tried some radio ads, and we're like, don't do it, and then he's like, whoops, I should have done it.
I did it.
But frankly, like he went out and did it, and that's one of the values, and also just really collaboration amongst owners, in that have had good feedback and things. I would highlight this initial, and we get into a little bit more of the grand opening marketing. It's the most work you're going to put into your business, and we're really built to launch and light it up. But we'll come into marketing. I think you and I were both jumping ahead. You want me to hit site selection and all that fun stuff?
Sure. Hen, did you have a comment or a question?
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say I work in a digital marketing firm, and I cannot speak more to that. Like, there are some tactics that really don't work, and people spend a ton of money on them. I'd say from my experience, I mean, Naperville is a great community, very diverse. I'd say that search for the moms, to be honest. Like, the moms are the ones, these are the decision makers. The moms are the ones who know where their kids, I mean, the potential of their kids and what they love and what they don't love. And the moms are like, anything with the moms that are recommended, it like spreads like fire. So
It's so true.
I would say that, like, we have a group, and we have like a newsletter that goes every month to like a ton of people, a ton of moms in Naperville, and anything that's recommended in that group, it's crazy. It booms like crazy. So
awesome.
Yeah.
And you'll find that in every market. And I'll piggyback on you having that digital marketing agency background. Again, we'll hit a little bit of it, but we've even done the sort of A/B testing on response timeliness and engagement, right? When we're doing our digital marketing, we're getting warm, if not hot leads. We're getting, their contact information, age of the kids, have your kids done art programs before, and really like why I say it's the most work you'll put into it. Like Jared did in Salt Lake City, he had a 2-hour response time. Like, they submit something, as long as it wasn't in the middle of the night or in weekends, etc. He's on the phone calling them, and it skyrocketed, right? Because these are our kids we're talking about. And others, another owner, I won't throw anybody under the bus, but it was like, I'll batch them up and send them an email on Fridays. Well, guess who had higher enrollment? The one that had like real just-in-time engagement. So that's where I think that having that, knowing what works, what doesn't, and that insight and collaboration across our team is really valuable, and will help you be successful. And you'll see in the upcoming things, our marketing is not just digital; it is local community engagement, and doing PTA, PTC, and really lighting those things up, partnering with your Parks and Rec group and other events and activities, and doing that. See, now I hijacked it and I went out of order, and I know we're running long, but we got a lot of cool stuff coming up.
I was just gonna say,
you go in,
guys. I have a business meeting at 2. I don't know how much longer do we have?
I'm gonna try. I think we only had 90 minutes, so I think we're over.
I will. I'll hit this really quick. So, short story, site selection. We work really intimately with you to find the right space in your market. We've got a national real estate team through NAI Elliott. Gary Littman leads that and does a fantastic job. We're looking for typically 1,200 to 1,600 square feet. When I say B type of real estate, we're not putting ourselves next to Boss or Louis Vuitton or those high-end retail. We want to be like where parents shop, right? We like having a coffee shop there, some whatever grocery store, and importantly, where our kids are already going. We love it when we got a mathnasium, a Kumon, a soda shop, a taekwondo studio, other things, so we're already there. You want to hit the next slide? I'm going to fly because I'm going to try. We're going to hit marketing. We'll go over, but and this is just an example. We love being next door or nearby mathnasiums, Kumons, those. We're not competing with them. Always keep that in mind. When you've got a kid that's going to say mathnasium, either that kid loves art and wants to do CAC, or another kid in the family likes it. And also when you just look at your market and you're like, hey, where would CAC do well? We want to, like, other tutoring areas, mathnasium, Kumon, Sylvan. It tells us that the community is investing in education and enrichment of their kids. Next one. Dang, I told you I go fast. I go fast, and this is probably the most important. We take long. We're intentional with site selection. This is a very critical part. And we nerd out, right? Again, I'm the numbers nerd. We're going to compare metrics, demos, what's my population, median household income, kid count, right? We realistically, we want to see at least 20,000 kids within 5 miles, because if we get just 1%, we got 200 kids. It's a nice high performance studio. The other thing on this slide that I like highlighting is when we first met, Stephanie and Barbara thought, okay, this might be good for like posh, affluent communities. Now look at that. That is a blue collar, that Bay Meadow studio. This is a blue collar working class community. And, Tricia, nobody can afford anything in your market in San Francisco at that rate. We regionally adjust based on CPI, but and that was a real wonderful thing to me, is that this is not just for those posh, affluent communities. This is for every town in America, and we've had great success there. Well, hit the next one. We nerd out on this. I can go deep and carve out time with you one-on-one. And then we help design and optimize your space and help you visualize it. One key thing is that we're moving more forward as we look at tenant improvements, permits, and all of that, is to not necessarily put in these dividing walls day one. Day one, do that little house on the prairie, one room schoolhouse type of build. And then later on, as you build your enrollment, then we can drop in a non-load bearing wall so that we can run concurrent classes. We don't need concurrent classes day one. We build that enrollment, and then probably year 2 is when now we're going to run concurrent classes every night. So keep that in mind. Again, something we've optimized through the years. And we like doing our 3D rendering. Some of us can work in 2D and visualize it. I'm sure Tricia, from your art background, you're like, cool, I got it. And not all of us can. So we work with you. You can do the 3D rendering. You want to hit the next one, Stephanie? See, I give her a break and I try to run through it. So this is that example, same core footprint, but without those walls. And this is what we're seeing. And why did we do this is like we saw that really, again, real world example where some studios like Alpharetta outside of Atlanta, oh my gosh, they don't want you to have a permit for everything. And so like, let's get you open. And then we'll deal with that longer term. And so, we put in a little subdivider. We do want to separate the waiting room from the main art studio because we're not big fans of helicopter parents. Parents aren't there to do the artwork for their kids. They can watch, they can observe. We love that. But go get a cup of coffee. Go do your grocery shopping. Let your kids immerse themselves in art. All right, next. I flew through that. I'm happy to go one-on-one with everyone. Here's a quick tour. You want to hit play? I don't know if it's coming through real well. This is the one that I'm going to introduce you to, Hind. So you'll be able to get me new video on it.
I'll be happy to do that. I was just going to say Arlington Heights is not too far from where we are.
Curiel I think he was the second franchisee that went with this one-room schoolhouse approach, just based on Chicago area and how long things were taking. We have Park Ridge going on. He's been sitting on his hands for a long time waiting for permits. See how it's just opened up? We have all the supplies that you're going to need. He did the little cubbies, which kind of creates that natural division between waiting room and classroom. But it's beautiful, and he does intend to put his walls up, and if it needs 5 months of waiting for the permits, so be it. He can run classes. He can have revenue. Kids can be taught in this beautiful studio. So this is definitely the approach that we're taking to overcome the challenges. I don't want you guys to sit wasting month after month and start having to pay rent and not be opened I mean, these are all challenges and things that we're learning from to help protect our franchisees that are starting now. This is working out great. And I think it looks great too.
It does. It looks really
So
nice.
it's all open. Yeah. And he'll show you. So eventually this will become 2 classrooms. So he's got it set up, I think, already with 2 whiteboards, possibly. And then around this back wall, I don't think this video he has his kiln installed yet. This was while he was still kind of under construction, but he'll eventually show us the back room, which has, let me see if I can fast forward a little bit. Da, da, da. Okay, so this is walking into the very back of the space. He's got his paper rolls. He's going to have his kiln back here for firing up the pottery. And then there's a bathroom. So it's very basic layout. There's his back door. All right, you guys get the gist. Here's the bathroom. La la. Cool, I didn't know you added that, Sean. All right.
I love it.
Training.
It's a great little tour.
Yes, and I'll speed through this too, but I want you guys to know, as a teacher, I'm all about the training. I have recorded so many how-to videos as you progress to getting open, including how to use, I make you a beautiful photo book that shows the kids and the projects at each level, and I want you to get so familiar and so comfortable with this book because it's going to sell your program. So early days when we're looking for our studio and we're waiting on the landlord to respond to us, I want you to be a good student. I can teach you, I have the things, the resources, but the more you know about your business, the more passionate you can be when you're talking to families. And I feel like that really resonates. So there's tons of training that's going to be accessible to you digitally. And I've recorded, like I said, a lot of videos. Once your teacher is hired, you're going to come to Florida. We do monthly teacher trainings. We'll have one here the 27th in January and again in February. I try to do one every single month except for Christmas time and then summer. So that 2-day training I think is invaluable. You get to not only get the hands-on training with me and with my mom, but you also get to see classes in session. And I feel like that is really what makes it real, right? When you see the kids coming and going from each class and the way classes are conducted and the classical music's playing and just the culture that we keep in the studio. I think that's important to see it firsthand in action. So that is incorporated into the on-site training here in Jacksonville. You'll have full hard copy notebooks of all of your curriculum that we make for you to put into your studio. And there's also digital copies of the curriculum. So before you have the physical copies, you and your teacher can be learning and looking ahead. We do conduct monthly teacher trainings that's held with Martha Boyson. I have the owner meetings, of course, and I continue to meet with you well after you're open. I still meet with my franchisees that are in like year 3 and 4. I don't care. I'm here to support you. I'm not going anywhere. My franchisees have my phone on speed dial. I'm one of those people. I really do want to know if there is a fire to put out. Shoot me a text. I'll call you directly. It's ongoing communication and support well after you've opened. The instructor training is really important that, like I said, we hire the right people. But anytime there's additional teaching trips or training tips, that is in this ongoing, growing library that I've built out. It's an ongoing training site for our teachers. There's photo examples of every single project so they know what the goal is for the kids that are working on specific projects. But communication's key. My mom, like I said, she's involved fielding phone calls if there's something to a question to be asked about a certain project. We want the teacher to do it right the first time so they don't learn it incorrectly. I don't believe practice is perfect. Practice is permanent. So we want to make sure that they're not winging it. We want to be able to address questions as they have them. And we're here to help. And I am involved helping you with hiring. I can't tell you who to hire, but I will definitely give you my feedback. So every year that you're in business, the next level of the curriculum is added. So by the time you're 4 years old, you'll have all the way up through Art 4, which is pretty exciting. And I have a whole curriculum full of special event ideas and promotions. And the beauty of this business is that it's simple. There's not a lot of moving parts. There's not a lot of surprises. You can do it. But it's the being a good student part and the passion behind what you're doing. I think that's going to resonate.
I'm so sorry I got to drop now, but it
No,
was
I
really
know we went way over. It was so good to have you.
it's okay. Yeah, same here. I will definitely be in touch again, and thank you very much. This was really helpful.
Oh, I'm so glad. Good to have you guys today.
Thank you. Sorry.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank
No,
you.
it's okay.
Bye.
Oh, we went way
Just
long, but everybody had great questions, and we'll keep going. If you can hang with us, please do, and we'll continue to do it, and then we'll send the recording. If you've got to drop, that's totally fine. We totally understand.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Trisha, you got a
we're
question?
down to the nitty-gritty.
Yes, I just have a
Anybody?
question regarding the space. Thanks
Sorry.
for
Can
sharing
you
the.
send a recording because I also need to drop.
Yeah, absolutely, we will. Take care. It was so nice to have you today.
Thank you, bye.
Bye-bye. Regarding the studio space, Trisha?
Yes, yes. Thanks for sharing the one room studio. I have a feeling that's how I have to start. I noticed the colors of the walls, and I understand from Rob that these are colors that you've picked out. You even have the codes for them to go pick them at Home Depot. I'm curious, were the colors picked? What was why were those colors picked for those particular walls? Did you consider like color psychology and all of that, and also in my experience, having such bold colors around the background, it kind of can influence the art. And I'm wondering, have you thought about that? And do we have leeway to reduce the number of colors or change the colors?
The colors are set in stone,
Mhm.
but I have had nothing but like they feel good. When you go into the studio, it's a good vibe. I mean, you get it every time. It's just a feel good vibe. There is a story behind those colors, believe it or not. When we opened our first location in Jacksonville, when we opened together, my mom and I, she was shopping for all things for the studio. And that year at Walmart, was all the back to college stuff for the dorms. And it was that entire color scheme, which Walmart has some serious researchers into picking colors for specific things. And all of those colors were from the color coded bins that they had that year. They did include orange, which we threw out over time. But that was all those years ago, and we've stuck to those colors, and they feel good in the studio. It looks a little different though, Trisha, with it open all the way up to the back. I don't know if you've seen the other studio tour, which is more typical once your walls are up. But yeah, it's a good feel. You got to where are you close to? We got to get you to a studio so you can walk through it and
The
feel it.
San Jose,
Yeah,
location.
we'll
Yeah,
get you down
and
there. I'll introduce you.
yeah, for sure.
And those
So
colors are in our logo now, so
oh yeah,
it
oh
is
they're everywhere.
cohesive.
Yeah, and the marketing materials and all of that for sure is built in. So we've already spoken about the effort, the marketing effort. We do have a wonderful website. You will have your own location page. We just went through a huge transition to get what is it, sub-sites created for each location to help with SEO. All of that's done. There's pop-up forms so parents, even before you have an address, can start to, if they're searching art classes in the area and they come up to children's art classes, the pop-up form will help you with lead generation, keeping in touch with those people who are interested if you don't have a schedule yet, creating that list. We just rolled out active campaign executive level for all of our franchisees as part of the marketing package for newsletters and drip campaigns. That's all available to you. Setting up Google My Business, Facebook, Instagram, it's all great. Again, it's all great for brand presence and keeping people engaged as your studio is getting built out. I know people like to see the progress. That's great. And I think that most of that you can handle some posts every once in a while. Spend your money on the things that are really going to convert to enrollments for you in the beginning. Printed flyers, local publications, school partnerships are huge. Those types of efforts are going to be worth their while. This is the timeline. We've covered all of these things, the school events, social media, open houses, and then you're open. It's not a huge window of time. You're looking at most often is about 3 months from signing the lease to getting open, now that we're doing this one room schoolhouse approach. Before, it was kind of up in the air, all over the place. Some of the marketing materials, this is just a snippet, but we've got Canva accounts available for each franchisee. And it's an arsenal at this point, and it's all plug and play. You can make a copy, put your stuff in. You, as an art designer background, Trisha, create your own pieces. I've got all the logos, the fonts, the colors, tons of pictures that are able to be used of the students. So you can create your own marketing pieces. I borrow stuff from other owners all the time that look better than my stuff. But we've got everything from pop-up ads to trifold brochures to digital ads and so forth. Getting engaged with the schools is a huge piece of getting open for your business. You want these teachers to know that this is a resource for their students that are involved with art and want to do more. I did a huge project with the school when I first opened one of my studios out here, and all the families participating, they would come to my studio to work on this. And it's a giant mural. This is a 14 by 14 foot mural with individual 1 foot boards cut, and they would come in and each person got a board, and on the back of the board was their color designation. They didn't know what it was going to be, but they had to do different textured items in the different colors. And once installed, it was their big mascot, and it's installed in the lunchroom, huge cafeteria, huge mural, and then there's a nice plaque that says in collaboration with children's art classes. I don't necessarily recommend this for your first project. It was a ton of work, but I believe that this type of engagement really lets parents know where you are. It puts you on the map. It gets people in the door, and they love it. So something maybe on a smaller scale would be doable. We also offer
I love
scholarships.
this. This brought like 186 kids into our studio to work on their 1 square foot thing. So it's a big one,
great.
but you think about bringing each kid, and they got their 1 foot by 1 foot square thing, and they didn't really know what it was going to be. And now it's there, 10 years later, or not quite 10, like 5 years later, and they see it every day in their multi-purpose room. So it was a win.
It was definitely a win. These are other involved events. Your ribbon cutting, having the chamber involved with when you first open as a new business owner is great. You can have them come to the studio, do a ribbon cutting event. Rob up here in Massachusetts does a lot of community engagements. He does raffles to earn money for different things within the community. You can raffle off scholarships. There's a lot of ways to get people talking about you. Local publications still exist. People still read the newspapers every once in a while. So if you're at a restaurant and you see those free take ones, those publications are usually pretty inexpensive and can still represent where you are. If you have events at the studio going on, you can market those. They're always looking for content. So don't forget, there's still old school ways to market too that are pretty effective. We made it. That's the end. What other questions do you guys have? You've been great.
There's plenty. I think I'm going to dig in more, but this has been really incredible. Thank you so much. A lot of great ideas.
Oh, it's my pleasure. My
Yeah.
pleasure. Happy to help. Arthur, you doing good? You hung in there till the bitter end?
Yeah, thanks for all the information. It was really great. I think one of the only questions that I had, just kind of, I didn't want to belabor any points as we were going through, as we were, already kind of running long, but you talked about people being able to drop in and, the impact of missing kind of beginning projects, but what is the general approach to absences, right? I mean, you have,
Oh, good question.
a
Great
9 month
question.
period, kids get sick, kids do all these things. How does that
Absolutely.
get handled?
We want those makeups because it's a curriculum. We never want our kiddos to get behind. We don't charge for makeups. We work with the family. Our teachers always send a text if they're missing a kid. Hey, miss Johnny in class today. Bring him to a class later this week if he's feeling better. As long as it's during the same, as long as it's like an intro class or whatever that
Yeah.
Johnny was normally in, he'll have the same lesson. If he's able to come during the same week, that's the best for your teacher. It doesn't always work that way. We will accommodate the kid. We don't want him to get behind. So that is truly how we handle the makeup classes. It's not as hard with Art One. Those are
Yeah.
pretty easy because they're always working on something, so they can come in and stay longer. They can come in during a different class because they usually are working independently on their drawing. But for the little kids, we really try to get them in the same week. if it's possible. So they're doing the same lesson and the teacher doesn't have to pull out all the stuff for that lesson that was already done a couple weeks ago or whatever. But we encourage makeups. We try to put on a front, like limit to 3 a year because you don't want people abusing
Right.
the makeups, which they do sometimes. So if you put that
Yeah.
out there as policy, knowing that you're going to accommodate a family if their kid's sick, that's the
Mhm.
best approach. So you don't have people, oh, I'm going to do Wednesday this week or Saturday next week. Look, they'll
Yeah.
hop. You don't want to,
Right. That
don't
makes
want
it
to,
very difficult for the teacher. Yeah.
yeah. And it could mess up your class size,
Right.
so you want to
Do
keep
those
them from,
drop-ins tend to cause issues, right? Because the design of the studio is such that, it's a 12 student class. So if one student misses and then comes on a Saturday class and that class is full with all 12 kids showing up, where does that 13th student that's doing a makeup sit and fit?
sure. We have a ton of tables. So
Okay.
even in the first classroom with the walls up, let's say you're at the wall point and you're in the first classroom, you've got 4 to 5 tables. So there's always a place for somebody to sit. Jacksonville Studio, we run concurrent classes on a few of our days, and we sometimes stick kids in the workroom. There's a table back there too. So if it's a kid and we're fully booked, we still have additional tables, so it's typically not a problem at all. There's always a place for them to come in and work.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you.
I have one more
Yeah.
question. It's regarding the clay program. I love that there's a kiln. Does the program get to the point where they're learning and we're teaching to throw pottery on a wheel? And
We
is there
don't
a
have
wheel?
enough room. I wish we had enough room for wheels, but we just don't. I mean, if you got a killer deal on a studio that had all the square footage, I mean, that would be amazing, but it's all hand building for clay
Okay,
in
got
the
it.
program. Yeah. I would love that though.
Yeah.
Need all that extra room. All right, guys. Well, reach out if more questions should arise. We are here to help you. Sean will get out the recording to everyone that was here today with us. And it's just been a pleasure to be able to share more. And I'm here for any additional questions. So don't feel like you can't reach out.
All right, thank you so
It
much.
was a
Thank
great
you so
session,
much.
and we carved out 90 minutes, but you guys all had great questions, and so it went really long. Thank you for your engagement and being part of this. I'll send out the recording and help coordinate next steps one-on-one. Thank you all.
Awesome. Thank
Bye,
you.
guys. Have a great
Bye.
weekend.
Bye.
Thank you,
You too.
Sean.
Bye.
Bye-bye.